As she walked home from work on a dark and quiet night, Emily couldn't shake off the feeling that she was being followed. Her heart raced as she looked around, but she saw no one. The only source of light came from the dimly lit street lamps that were few and far between. She was walking as fast as she could, hoping to get home safely, when she saw him. There was an odd-looking man standing a few feet away from her. He had a strange aura about him that made Emily feel uneasy. The man was tall, thin, and had piercing blue eyes that seemed to stare straight through her. He wore a black trench coat that looked like it had seen better days. Something was off about the man's appearance. He seemed almost otherworldly, and she was hesitant to approach him. As she walked by, the man turned to her and whispered something that made no sense. "Beware the horse," he said, before walking away. Emily couldn't make sense of the man's warning, but she hurried on her way home. She had just turned a corner when suddenly, a deformed-looking horse was staring directly at her. It had a large head that looked like it was about to burst. Its eyes were bright red, and its fur was patchy and unkempt. She couldn't look away from the strange creature. She felt a sense of fear and unease building inside her. As she approached the horse, Emily noticed that it was tied to a post. She wondered who would leave a horse like that alone on the street. She tried to ignore the horse and walked past it, but it seemed to follow her with its gaze. Maybe the stranger was just trying to scare her, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was odd about the horse. She could feel its gaze on her even after she turned the corner. When Emily arrived home, she locked the door behind her and went straight to bed, but she couldn't sleep. The image of the strange horse haunted her. She tried to convince herself that it was just her imagination, but had a strong feeling that something was not right. She tossed and turned in her bed, trying to fall asleep, but the strange horse continued to occupy her thoughts. In the middle of the night, Emily heard a strange noise outside her window. She tried to ignore it, but the noise grew louder and more persistent. Finally, she got out of bed and went to the window. When she looked outside, she saw the deformed horse staring straight at her with its bright red eyes. She tried to close the window, but the horse's gaze held her in place. Suddenly, the horse spoke to her. "You didn't listen to the warning," it said in a deep and menacing voice. "Now, you must face the consequences." Emily was frozen with fear. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. The horse's voice was like nothing she had ever heard before. Suddenly, the horse charged towards her. She tried to run, but the horse was too fast. It crashed through the window and landed in her bedroom. Emily screamed as the horse advanced towards her. She tried to defend herself, but it was too strong. Its large head loomed over her, and its breath was hot and fetid. Emily could feel the horse's breath on her face as it whispered to her. "You should have listened," it said. "Now, you belong to me." And then, everything went black. No one ever heard from Emily again. However, the next night, 2 strange horses were spotted in the street. And so now, listener, I must warn you. Beware the horse.